baskets full of provision. So, can everyone take out their Bibles or their phones and turn to Matthew 14, verse 19. Matthew 14, verse 13. Over there.
Matthew 14, verse
13. Then can you read verse 13 until 21?
Sure.
It's false.
When Jesus heard what had happened, he withdrew by boat privately to a solitary place. Hearing of this, the crowds followed him on foot from the towns. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them and healed those who were ill. As evening approached, the disciples came to him and said, This is a remote place, and it's already getting late. Send the crowds away so that they can go to the villages and buy themselves some food. Jesus replied, They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat. We have only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, they answered. Bring them here to me, he said. And he took the people to sit down on the grass, taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to the heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 baskets of broken pieces that were left over. The number of those who ate was about 5,000 men, besides women and children.
So, this story, I'm sure everyone is familiar with the story, and everyone have been hopefully watching or have been in a lot of sermons where the story is preached. But what I've noticed is a lot of people talk about the miracle that has happened and not the provision. So, starting from verse 13. When Jesus heard what had happened, he withdrew by boat privately to a solitary place. So this is coming back to the passage before this. No spoilers, but John the Baptist was like, he did. So that's why Jesus was wanting to go to a solitary place, like to just be by himself or whatever he wanted to do in that place. I really don't know. But hearing of this, the crowds followed him on foot from the towns. So basically this crowd is the word of Jesus is coming here, and this word spread everywhere throughout the towns. The people were talking about it and doing research and like watching a lot of sermons on this. I want to try to let you guys like get the picture of like 5,000 people talking about this guy is coming here. We heard of this Messiah, we heard of this Jesus that was doing miracles or was preaching the word, and that desire inside of him like to learn more, or that the spiritual hunger that they had inside of them, like the vitamin 3, they wanted to pursue this person, they wanted to like also experience what the other people experience. And so they yo, this is big, man. But they went on foot to follow this guy. It's just like 5,000 people. It's crazy. It could be it's more than 5,000 people, but we keep it 5,000 for now. I will come back to that. So when Jesus landed, this is verse 14, when Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them and healed their sick. So I was reading in that Bible actually while I was doing the research and also while I was busy with the word. And the word they use here in this Bible is, when Jesus heard the news about John, he left there in the boat and went on to a lonely place by himself. The people heard about it, and so they left their towns and followed him by land. Jesus got out of the boat, and when he saw the large crowd, his heart was filled with pity. So again, it brought something onto me. I wanted to see what was the difference between compassion and pity. So doing research, do anyone know what's the difference between compassion and pity?
Isn't pity like when you feel sorry for someone, and compassion is more like empathy, like feel your pain, like kind of get where you're coming from, like sympathizing with a person, with someone.
Compassion is more a place of love.
Is it? So compassion is more or less like the same like pity. It's just compassion is when I feel sorry for you, I want to do something like. I feel so guilty that I want to help you. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna speak to you. Whether it is like you need something, I'm gonna help you with that. Or if you just need help, like someone to speak to or something. If I feel compassion on you, I'm gonna help you with it. Where pity is, I could just feel pity for you. Like I could just feel sorry for you, but that's all I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna help you. So it was just something that I found was cool. It really shows the character, and I really like the wording that the Bible used. Not that one. But that the Bible use, and that's something cool. So we go on with the story. He felt compassion and he healed the sick. So as evening approached, this is verse 15, as evening approached, the disciples came to him and said, this is a remote place and it's already getting late. Send the crowds away so they can go to the villages and buy themselves some food. Jesus replied, they do not need to go away. You give them something to eat. The disciples replied, we have only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Jesus answered them by saying, bring them here to me. So, I want to start in here is, I don't know, I hope most of you, okay, not hope, but I think most of you guys will relate. When we are in a place of struggle, or we don't see getting out of this place, we're praying for change or for something, but it's not working. It feels like change is just pulling us back, nothing is working, or we don't see a way out. And then miraculously, God just gets us out, man. And it blows your mind because you never thought about this, or never thought this could happen. It's because God's plan is beyond our comprehension. We only have a limited understanding. And okay, let me just put something on this. Can someone go to Isaiah 55 for me?
What verse?
8 till 9. The verse taken.
Isaiah verse 8. Okay. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than yours, and my thoughts than your thoughts.
So you have to just hear how God just declares we can't match him in any way possible, and we will never understand what he understands in any way possible. So his plan to us, when we in a place of where we can't move, we don't see a way out, the plan that he has, it surpasses what we are thinking of. Can I say it like that? He has a higher sense of thinking than us. That's why I say God's plan is perfect, and sometimes it confuses us to the point where we wouldn't understand how this happened. And that's just faith, that's the God that we serve. So bringing this here, oh no, I need to go on. So verse 19, he directed the people to sit down on the grass, taking the 5 loaves and 2 fish, and looked up to heaven. He gave thanks and broke the loaves, and he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. So, and I'm reading this. When I was reading this, I was thinking of when Jesus looked up to heaven and then broke the bread and gave thanks. It foreshadows to the Last Supper where again he gave thanks and then broke bread. So basically, he was just referencing that we just like broke a piece of his body, just like salvation. Like he died for us on the cross, and that's our way of our way of getting the satisfaction. Get someone to help with that word.
Satisfaction.
Sorry. And yeah, so what I want to bring across to you guys is in this, he didn't just like fold them physically, but he filled this 5,000 people spiritually also with knowledge, whether it was with healing the sick or with the things he was saying, the things he was preaching. So he filled them physically and spiritually. It just like shows like how he used the bread of life. And I think in the next verse or in the next verse, it like says like how they were satisfied. Like we get satisfied from God. Like a lot, like you would think like a lot of worldly things would satisfy you, and I think that's where a lot of people come to a changing point where they're not getting satisfied with worldly things anymore. And then they would yell this Jesus guy or this God and like try to get satisfaction out of him, and yeah, it's just a changing curve for me. But like looking back on the story now, like there was a couple of not changing points, but there was things that like, I think it's 3 things that stand out or stood out to me, like going over this word. Is how the crowd followed Jesus because they were spiritually hungry. So they were hungry for Messiah or for a Lord. They were seeking him, and when they seek him, they found him. Makes sense? I know I'm going with this. So once they were seeking him, they found him. And upon that, once they found him, he healed the sick. Just like he healed us. Once we seek him, if we go through the salvation part, we're going to get healed. We're going to be wiped clean. We're going to be made whole. But it doesn't stop there, because we learn here that even through this, after the healing, after the teaching, he takes care of them also. So he provided for them with food and everything, just like us. Or like, how can I say, the things that we go through. Because we don't just get saved. But again, it's not that simple also. It says here, I like this, but it says here that even after like it was getting late, even the disciples and you look here, we don't have food for those people. They need to go home. They need to go eat something to eat because we don't have food here. There's too much people and there's no places to get food or anything. Even the disciples knew, and coming to that with Jesus. So that 5,000 people, like really I was thinking deep on this, that 5,000 people, didn't they like doubt to anything? Say like, yo, you know what, we were here all day, we were hearing this guy preach, we were here seeing him do miracles, but like, we're getting hungry, man. I want to go home. But no one stood up to go home, or no one did anything. Even after it was getting late, and Jesus put them all, like, wait, where's this verse? He directed them to sit down on the cross. Even after that, they still obeyed him when he directed them, when they were probably hungry, or when they didn't know what was going to happen next. And that's the same like us, how we need to still obey God, even though we're not going to know what's going to happen next, or what is this leading to, where we're going with this, what is our plan, what's our path going to. We still need to obey him, and he will provide for us, just like he provided for this 5,000 people. So yeah, Jesus demonstrates God's provision by providing for these people, for the crowds, his physical needs and his spiritual needs. And I hope all of us trusting in His provision and knowing that He is also the bread of life, get a piece of it, and I hope you all like satisfied because of Him. So, dang, did I have?